Every year, on the same day, she would return to this place. An old bench, under the same tree, in the same quiet corner of a town that time had forgotten. Her hands were fragile now. Her hair had turned silver. Her steps were slower than they used to be, but her heart still remembered. People would pass by and wonder, who was this old woman? Why did she come here every year? What was she waiting for? Some thought she was lost in memory. Others thought she had nowhere else to go. But none of them knew the truth. None of them knew about the promise. A promise made decades ago. A promise between two young hearts who believed that nothing could ever keep them apart. She would arrive early, always early, wearing her best dress, carrying the same hope she had carried for so many years. And she would wait. Through rain, through cold, through the unbearable weight of silence. Year after year, season after season, she returned. Because a promise is a promise, even when the world tells you to let go, even when everyone says you're foolish. But this year felt different. This year, the rain fell harder, the wind blew colder, and something inside her whispered that perhaps this was the last time. She didn't know it yet, but today she would finally learn the truth. The truth about why he never came back. The truth she had been waiting her whole life to hear. This is the story of a woman who waited, and the heartbreaking secret that was kept from her for decades. 50 years ago, in a small town where everyone knew everyone, she met him. She was 18, shy, a girl who spent her days reading books and dreaming of a life beyond the hills. He was 20, kind, a boy with gentle eyes and a smile that made her believe in impossible things. They met by accident, at the town festival, under paper lanterns that swayed in the summer breeze. He asked her to dance, she said yes. And in that moment, beneath the glow of 1,000 lights, something shifted, something neither of them could explain. From that night on, they were inseparable. They would meet at the same bench, under the same tree, in the same quiet place where the world felt far away. He would bring her flowers. She would bring him stories from the books she read. They talked about their dreams, about the future, about all the places they would go and all the things they would build together. She was afraid of losing him. He promised her she never would. He told her about his plans, about the job opportunity in the city, about how he needed to leave for just a few years to build a better life for them. She didn't want him to go, but she understood. And so, one autumn evening, as the sun painted the sky in shades of gold and red, he made her a promise that would echo through the rest of her life. "I'll come back," he said, holding her hands in his. "No matter how long it takes, no matter what happens, I'll come back to this place and we'll start our life together." She looked into his eyes, and she believed him. "I'll wait," she whispered. "I'll wait for you, right here." He smiled, kissed her forehead, and walked away. She watched him disappear down the road, watched until he was just a shadow against the setting sun. She didn't know it then, but that was the last time she would ever see him. The first few weeks were the hardest. Every morning, she would wake up expecting a letter. Every evening, she would check the post. Every night, she would pray for his safety. But no letters came. Her friends told her to be patient. The city was far. Mail took time. He was probably just settling in. So she waited and she trusted. Months passed, still nothing. She went to the bench every week, sat in their spot, imagined the conversations they would have when he returned. A year went by, then 2, then 5. People started to whisper. They said he had forgotten her, that he had found someone else, that she was wasting her youth waiting for a man who was never coming back. But she didn't listen. She kept her promise, because that's what love meant to her, keeping your word, no matter what. She lived her life quietly, worked at the local library, spent her days surrounded by stories of love and loss. But every year, on the anniversary of the day he left, she would return to the bench. She would bring flowers, white roses, his favorite. She would sit there for hours, watching the road, hoping that maybe, just maybe, this would be the year he came back. But he never did. Her hair began to gray, her hands began to wrinkle. The world around her changed. The town grew, new buildings rose, old faces disappeared, life moved forward. But she remained, a constant in a world that never stopped changing. People called her the woman who waited, Some admired her devotion, others pitied her stubbornness. But she didn't care what they thought. She had made a promise, and she would keep it, even if it took her entire life, even if he never came. Because some loves don't need proof. They don't need answers. They exist in the quiet faith of waiting. And so she waited, year after year, decade after decade, never knowing the truth, never knowing what really happened to the man she loved. Until one day, 50 years later, the truth finally found her. The years blurred together. Spring came and went. Summer burned bright and faded. Autumn painted the world gold. Winter covered everything in silence. And through it all, she returned. Every single year. On the same day. In her 20s, she came with hope burning in her chest, believing this would be the year. In her 30s, she came with quiet determination, telling herself patience was love's greatest gift. In her 40s, she came with acceptance, understanding that some promises take longer than others. In her 50s, she came with peace, knowing that waiting itself was her way of loving him. And now, in her 70s, she came with the weight of a lifetime. Her walk was slower, her breath shorter, her body tired, but her heart still belonged to the boy she met under paper lanterns 50 years ago. She would sit on the bench, the same bench, weathered now by time and rain. She would close her eyes and remember his laugh, his voice, the way he looked at her like she was the only person in the world. She remembered the promises they made, the dreams they shared, the future they planned. And she wondered, where was he now? Did he think of her? Or had he built a different life, a life she was never part of? The questions used to hurt, but now they were just part of her. She had learned to live with the not knowing, to find peace in the waiting itself. Some people asked her why she didn't move on, why she chose to spend her life waiting for a ghost. But they didn't understand. This wasn't about logic. This wasn't about love, real love, the kind that doesn't demand answers, the kind that simply exists. And so she kept coming back, year after year, until her legs could barely carry her, until her hands shook too much to hold the flowers, until this year, the 50th year, when finally, after half a century of waiting, the truth arrived. She was about to leave when she saw someone approaching, a young man in his 20s, walking toward her with purpose. He stopped a few feet away, looked at her with gentle, knowing eyes. "Excuse me," he said softly. Are you waiting for someone?" Her heart tightened. After all these years, someone finally asked. "I was," she whispered, "a long time ago." The young man reached into his bag, pulled out an old envelope, yellowed with age. "I think this is for you," he said. Her hands trembled as she took it. The handwriting on the front, she recognized it instantly. His handwriting. "How?" she started, but her voice broke. "My grandfather," the young man said. "He was a postman. 50 years ago, he found this letter. It was supposed to be delivered, but there was a mistake. It got lost in the system. He kept it all these years, and before he passed, he asked me to find you." Tears blurred her vision. With shaking hands, she opened the envelope. Inside was a letter, written in the same handwriting she remembered, the handwriting of the boy she loved. She read, and as the words sank in, her world shattered. He had tried to come back. 3 months after he left, he boarded a train home. He was coming back to her, to keep his promise. But the train never made it. There was an accident, a terrible accident on a mountain pass. He didn't survive. He was only 23 years old. The letter had been written the night before. A letter full of love, full of plans for their future, full of promises he would never get to keep. He had never forgotten her. He had carried her in his heart until his last breath. And she had spent 50 years waiting for a man who had died trying to return to her. The young man placed a hand on her shoulder. "He loved you," he said quietly. "My grandfather said he found the letter in his pocket. He was holding it when they found him." She couldn't speak, could only cry, for the love she lost, for the years she spent waiting, for the truth that came too late. The rain stopped. A soft light broke through the clouds. She held the letter close to her chest, and for the first time in 50 years, she felt him near. He had kept his promise, in the only way he could. Some people wait a lifetime for love. She did. And even though he never came back, he never truly left.